There were not everyone, but most of the students that would go, they would they would be married, and they go initially without their family.
Yeah.
They have to set themselves up, and then maybe after a couple of years they're able to bring their family over.
Yeah.
And with my situation was such that I was unable to bring my family over.
Yeah.
And for my wife, it was difficult. She needed support.
Yeah.
Eventually, what happened? She became ill. She had a stroke as well. So I had no option but to go back.
Yeah.
And here I am, and I don't regret coming back because everything has its place and has its time.
Yeah.
So.
أيا طالب العلم قم لا تنم فإن الزمان انقضى وانصرم فكن ما حييت ضنينا به فظنك بالوقت عين الكرم وكن حلس درسك وافرح به تكن قائدا في غد للأمم وبادر شبابك من قبل أن يقطع عزمك سيف الهرم.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللسامعين ولجميع المسلمين أجمعين. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm joined with my dear brother today, Brother Waqaas. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waqaas, huh? When was the last time I saw you, akhi? Besides the conference of Sheikh Sulaiman.
Many years ago.
How long has it been?
I think maybe 2015.
2015. Wow. Akhi, that's I think it's been well overdue, subhanAllah, since we're supposed to meet, isn't it? Since I've been back in the UK.
Well, you've changed your number a couple of times and you've lost my number, so
I mean, it wasn't intentional. I've had at least a good maybe 5-6 phones in Saudi. SIM cards maybe a good 10 to 15, I would say. Unfortunately, I keep losing them. But let's talk about when we first met. Do you recall when you first met me, akhi?
Wallah, I don't remember, except that we were in a class together in the Mahad.
Mustawa Thani,
yeah.
Yeah, I met Mr. Waqaas, the one and only.
Yeah, I think I started at Mustawa Thani. Yeah, I don't think.
I remember you told me when you came you didn't do Mustawa Awal, isn't it?
No.
So obviously you knew Arabic before you came to Saudi, is that what it was?
No, I didn't know Arabic. I studied a bit in Yemen, studied a bit in Pakistan as well.
You didn't tell me that. I didn't know about you, mashallah.
No, but it was just...
so what, did you go Yemen to seek knowledge, or?
I went to seek study. I think my initial thing was going to Dammaj. Okay. But we knew it was quite difficult to go to Dammaj.
Yeah.
So one of my friends, he found, a small markaz, you can say, or, Ta'aleem al-Lugha.
Okay.
Institute.
Yeah.
And I applied to that.
Well, you applied whilst you were in the UK or whilst you were in Yemen? Or?
I was in the UK at the time.
Okay.
We applied from London.
This is what year is this?
I think it was in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah, 2009. Yeah, 2009 I went, yeah.
So was that like an online institute an institute that you can apply and it's like set up like an institute, like Jamia, where you get scholarship or?
No, there wasn't a scholarship or anything of that sort. It was just a small institute where,
What city in Yemen?
In Sana'a.
Okay, capital, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, just like any other institute, you get in contact with them, you inquire about the application, and
yeah.
There was a brother from Nigeria who was managing the institute or the enrollment, for students overseas. Yeah. His name was Yusuf from Nigeria.
Okay, mashallah.
I
never actually knew that they had any sort of institute that accepts students from abroad. Did they pay for your ticket and for your?
No, everything was from side.
You. Yeah. Okay, so they just give you the capability of coming to that city and then studying and give you the visa.
Yeah.
How about accommodation?
Accommodation they provided, but it was just one of those things you had to pay rent.
Oh, okay. But so set up a little bit like Egypt, but just like they give you the visa.
I've never been to Egypt.
Meaning that's what Egypt is, isn't it? Like you go there and everything is there, but setup is there, but you have to pay for everything.
Yeah. You can say that.
Okay, mashallah.
I remember the masjid. There was masjid, and then on top of the masjid was the institute, and then on the institute level and on top of that there was accommodation, but not just specifically for the students, but anyone who wanted to.
Oh, so it's like a building, mabna, where...
Yeah.
So how long were you there for, akhi?
It's a couple of months, maybe 2-3 months, that's it.
Oh, so not long.
No.
Is it because you didn't like it there? Or what made you leave after so quickly?
When I first went there, it was okay in terms of the political situation was
okay,
easy.
yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
And then obviously,
but as I stayed there, it got more and more difficult.
Okay, then you decided to.
It was best to leave.
And then obviously, when you come back now, when did you go about applying for the uni?
Think when I came back, my father knew someone whose landlady worked in the Saudi Cultural Bureau.
MashaAllah, big boy links.
No, so my father, he always had this desire, alongside myself, that, study in the Jamia. Madinah University is a big thing,
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, through her, I managed to apply.
Okay.
And had an interview. I think some representatives from the Jamia came to England.
What year was that? 2011?
2011, I think, yeah.
So it's kind of like Chiswick Culture Xavier.
You went as well.
I went there as well, akhi.
I didn't see. I remember
2 guys, right?
There were a couple.
Yeah, but meaning those that were in the interview room, there's only 2 guys there with you, right? Or was it 3?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
But I remember I was the 3rd person to be interviewed.
Okay.
Before me was Sharif.
Sharif from Holland. MashaAllah.
Muhammad Sudani.
Muhammad Sudani.
Abu Uthman, I think.
No, I don't think I know him.
Don't know.
I don't think I know him.
No, it's Kunya is something else, but
anyway.
He used to study in Kulliyat al-Hadeeth.
I don't know. Doesn't ring a bell.
But anyway, the reason I said that is because we were the first 3 to be interviewed.
Okay.
And we were the first, us 3 were accepted.
Okay. And did you know any of these brothers beforehand?
No.
Okay, but you just remember recording, seeing them there.
I saw Sharif. He was the one we got together. We went together to the Cultural Bureau because I got lost. I didn't know where we were going. I remember seeing a big tall, giant in front of me, and I asked him, do you know where we're
That's
going?
the Sharif, yeah. SubhanAllah, that's ajib. I didn't know you actually went through that route, because I went through the same route as well. SubhanAllah. So obviously then after that you went back and you put your papers through, then you get accepted.
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
So then obviously that's why you started Mustafa Thani, because of the whole experience you had in Yemen for the couple of months.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I knew Arabic, but you have to know that, especially being a Pakistani or anyone who speaks the Urdu language, it's very similar. The words are very similar to the Arabic.
Yeah.
Not all in all, but I think that knowing Urdu helps you learn Arabic or pick up Arabic very quick.
Quicker than a person that probably doesn't have any sort of...
Yeah.
Okay, mashallah. So yeah, we had Mustafa Thani together. Yeah. I remember that. Good moments.
Yeah.
And then I don't recall a lot of it, but I recall some parts of it. And then we had Mustafa Thalith we didn't have together all right.
No.
So that was the last I saw you anyway, with regards to being together in a classroom.
Yeah, you were always in and out. You left, I think, for a while, and then you came back.
What, you mean the uni?
Yeah.
No, I never left. See, that's the thing, something that I should probably make clarification, but a lot of people do think I left. I never ever left. I never ever left.
Okay.
But what I did, I took what you call, it wasn't even ta'jil. A lot of people think that I actually took a gap out completely, but it was i'tidar, which in English I don't even know how to even explain.
Excuse.
So yeah, I excused myself of one semester.
Okay.
And that was, I think it was the 3rd semester. So after the first year, when we came back 2014, that semester, or was it 3rd semester?
Okay.
3rd semester. Because obviously you went on, as you went into the Kulliyah, because I took off that thing. I was still in the Ma'had, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, so talking about it, so obviously fast forwarding now, you've gone now into the Ma'had, you studied, you've completed it. Did you find it difficult? Were there any special events, special moments, any times that you thought maybe, I'm homesick, I want to go back? Because it's important for a lot of viewers, like how, if you did get homesick, how did you manage to kind of tackle it and overcome it?
Overcome what?
Being homesick, finding it difficult, being away from home.
No, I didn't find it difficult in that sense because I had a bit of experience living alone. I was in Pakistan for 9 months.
Okay, was that after Yemen?
No, first time was in Pakistan.
Okay.
When I finished year 10 here, I went to Pakistan. Lived there for about 9 months.
How was that? Okay, how was that your first ever time doing it by yourself?
Yeah. It was a good and bad experience.
Summarizing all of it, what's the reason?
You get to learn about. Now this is about Pakistan in general. This is not about going to a different place and talking about your experience. But I learned a lot of things there when I was in Pakistan because me being born here, all we knew was Pakistan. We didn't know about other cultures within Pakistan. So you have people like the Pashtun, you have the Punjabis, you have the Balochis, you have the Kashmiris. So I had the chance, to
actually see it with your
live with them. Their culture was different. It was, like I said, good and bad experience. They never got along. You have to know these guys back then, they wouldn't get along. There's always this politics, about how bad Pakistan is and this and that. And
when you say these guys, who's these guys? The different cultures.
The different cultures.
Okay.
So because Punjab is probably the most developed province in Pakistan. The others, they have an issue with that,
jealousy as well.
But like I said, don't know what the truth is.
But in terms of like the language, the Urdu language, were you fluent in it before or after that trip?
Oh no, this is something from the favors of Allah, and then I thank Allah. After Allah, I thank my mom and dad. We had this rule in the house when we were here, when we were young, that as long as you're in the house, you speak Urdu. When you go out the house, you can speak English because and that it benefited me a lot. It gave me respect when I went to Saudi, when I met with different Pakistani students.
I remember that.
Yeah, not something I didn't consider knowing my mother tongue a big thing, but now when I look at it, it was something big, and it gave me a lot of respect amongst the Indians and the Pakistani, or generally speaking, those who knew Urdu.
When you were studying.
Yeah, those who knew the Urdu language, I was highly respected.
I can see that. I saw from far. I could see Allahumma barik. Yeah, the good, entourage.
No, it's just it's like I said. Even though we were born here in the West, you shouldn't really forget where you come from.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
And
but I can see Allahumma barik. That's what I'm saying. When I mean that, I could see from far that you managed to fit in really well with those that came from Pakistan because you were able to communicate with them. So obviously that's important. Like you said, generally speaking, a lot of people that are born in this and raised here, they don't really know their mother tongue.
Well, some of them, they didn't even believe that I was from England.
Oh, they didn't? To that extent? Okay, mashallah.
Yeah, that's how much I fitted in with them.
Okay.
And then alongside that, we used to go to Saturday Urdu classes. I remember my primary school, we had Urdu classes on Saturdays.
Serious?
And that's where I learned to write and read.
Mashallah.
Though I forgot now a bit.
Oh, you've forgotten a bit?
Not a lot. I can read a bit. I don't write Urdu as much. It's a shame I can't carry this on with my kids, though I try. But
mashallah. Okay. Yeah. What I wanted to ask, fast forwarding, you've gone into the couple of years of studying. You now get into the kulliyah. Why Hadith? Because I know obviously you chose that, but why? Why is it that you wanted to choose Hadith?
There's this ayah in the Quran. Allah says in the Quran, قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم والله غفور رحيم.
Yeah.
That always stuck at the back of my head, you know. You want to love Allah, you want Allah to love you, you have to follow the Prophet ﷺ. So for me, I think Kulliyat al-Hadith was the only option.
Okay.
This doesn't, it doesn't lower the value of any other kulliyah, but this depends on the individual himself, you know.
Yeah.
And I was advised by quite a few people not to go in this kulliyah because it's very hard, they say, and you have to memorize a lot of hadith, and you have to keep up to date with the books and all that. But despite that, I said no, I want to do it. And the short time I was in Kulliyat al-Hadith, I don't regret any of it. Though I struggled, but life is full of struggle anyway. So,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that, what you're saying, because it's like, obviously, the more you learn hadith and where it comes from, what it originates from, and mustalahat and stuff, you have the love for it even more, isn't it?
No, the other thing, it makes you appreciate the work that the ulama in general, but the muhaddithun, what they done, and how they preserve the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And there's no space, you can't doubt any sahih hadith, because if you study how they would collect hadith or how they would narrate hadith, and you appreciate that, from the heart, you really appreciate that, and
100%.
you consider yourself favored that Allah has given you the tawfiq to study it, because it's not for everyone.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's true. No, 100%, you're right, subhanAllah. That's why, in terms of just a message I think I would give to all those that want to pursue in terms of their path and seeking knowledge and they've been accepted, I generally used to give advice to many people: go with that which you love the most, because some people, they go according to that which they've been advised, and they might not even like that specific faculty. So if you go with that which, like, for example, you loved it, so you went in there, I'm pretty sure you did well. So obviously those that now choose something to go into another specific kulliyah, it's not going to be as effective as if you have that love and that passion for it.
Yeah, people would say, I remember they would say, look at what your community needs and study that. Though there might be some sort of element of truth in that.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not gonna study it, you might not benefit from that as much as you would benefit from something that you really want to study.
Exactly.
So, it goes both ways, man.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Waqaas, obviously, I lost contact with you whilst we were there. And what year did you enter Kulliyah?
Possibly
2014, right?
14 or 15.
So at that time, I definitely lost contact with you. I mean, I think I used to see you here and there on odd times when you were coming from your classes. But obviously, there reached a stage where you had to obviously leave.
Yeah.
Now, the question for me that is important is why? What led you to actually leaving the university that you obviously wished to go to and you wanted to study and what have you? What was the reason, if you don't mind going into that?
Yeah.
I mean, how did it even start? Where did it start to, creep in terms of you having the thoughts?
It's everyone. I'm sure you know that there were not everyone, but most of the students that would go, they would be married, and they go initially without their family.
Yeah,
they have to set themselves up, and then maybe after a couple of years they're able to bring their family over.
Yeah,
and with my situation was such that I was unable to bring my family over.
Yeah,
and for my wife, it was difficult. She needed support.
Yeah.
Eventually, what happened? She became ill. She had a stroke as well. So I had no option but to go back.
Yeah.
And here I am, and I don't regret coming back, because everything has its place and has its time.
Yeah.
So while I was there, I don't regret the time I spent there. it was from Allah's, hikmah that I was, I couldn't bring my family over.
Of course, yeah.
And there's no complaint about that. Just my wife was not well, and I had to come back and support her.
Of course, I don't think there's anyone with the right state of mind would have chosen to do anything but go back to their family members, subhanAllah. And that must have been like at the time, if you don't mind me asking, how were your emotions related to leaving the university, knowing that, I think at the time, what semester were you in?
I was between the third and fourth.
Yeah, so that's more or less coming towards right bang on in the middle. Like how were you like emotionally at the time?
Look, at that time, priority was coming back to the wife, coming back home.
Yeah.
Kids, and the wife. So it wasn't much of a regret back then. But as time went on, and I knew now I cannot go back.
Yeah.
I do think about, had it just been that if I was able to finish off my studies there, or what would have been like, maybe I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing now. Could have been doing something different. But like I said, regret would always be there. But at the same time, I thank Allah for the opportunity that Allah gave me
to actually be able to
be in Medina, because not just studying in the Jamia. When I look at myself, or I reflect on my life, I see myself well blessed and favored by Allah than anyone else in my family. Like, my father, my mom, may Allah preserve them both. They for some whatever reason, but they haven't done Hajj or Umrah. So I'm the first person in the family to do Umrah. And I take great pride in that.
Yeah.
I ask Allah to, accept it.
Ameen.
But it was something that I'm like, Allah has favored me to go, to do Umrah and, spend time in Medina. It's not easy to live in Medina or, go to Makkah and live there.
Yeah.
So these in itself are blessings from Allah, which I thank Allah for.
Akhi, and may Allah will accept it, Akhi, from you and all of us. I think that's a message, I think, for all those that are currently studying, to utilize their time wisely and to obviously, try and perform Umrah. So with that having been said, would you have any sort of advice to those that are going to go in terms of how to plan it out to try and make sure they benefit?
And those that
and those that are actually there, how can they try their best to utilize their time, not knowing, for example, like you were in the same situation once upon a time when you went, you wouldn't have thought in a million years that it would have come the time and then you have to go back. So how can one take themselves away from that, meaning being put in that situation? How can they utilize their time more so that they don't actually, when it comes to the stage and they've got no control, they have to go back? And also, what advice generally do you have for people that could be in that stage? What should they do and how should they go about things? Because the reason I'm asking, just so that I can elaborate, is many people are faced under trial, and they're tested. And some of them make the wrong decisions that they later on regret even more. Okay, so meaning, how should one go about that situation? What do you advise according to your own experiences and what you had?
Going back to the asal, it's the niyyah. Intention is very important. If the intention, it's always about, renewing the intention, reminding yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? In terms of the advice I can give to brothers who want to seek talabul ilm, this is just a general, what comes to mind, in order to seek knowledge, you don't have to go to the Jamia. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply to it, but you have to know it's not that everybody is accepted. So people, if they don't get in, they don't make any, as far as I know, I don't think they would make any other efforts in order to seek knowledge. Though there might be some who say, okay, I can't get in here, let me try somewhere else. But It's hard, really. Because I have so many things to say now that nothing's coming to mind now. You'd have to go back to what you asked
Okay,
me again.
what I'm going to say is that those that have a situation like family problems, or they're not stable financially, or they have situations where maybe they could, a couple of years down the line, they're probably not going to finish the uni. What advice do you give them? And also those that are studying, how can they utilize their time? So if, low qaddar Allah, if something was to occur, they know that at least I managed to benefit somewhat whilst I was here.
Yeah, and let me answer your second question because
Okay.
I remember something.
Okay.
I don't know how true it is, but I heard that one of the mashayikh of Pakistan, Allama Ihsanillahi Dhahir, when he went to the Jamia, at his initial stages, the initial time that he was there, he was put with some students from his own community, Urdu-speaking students from Pakistan or India or whatnot. And he went to the mushrif and he complained and he said that, I didn't leave my country to come here to mix with, with my people. So he requested that he be put with those people who are not from his, country.
Yeah.
And
different language.
Yeah. And this made him a great alim, for the ummah. And that's one thing I would advise for, for anyone, whether it be from the Western countries or whether it be from any other country, that if you are to go to the Jamia, do not, I'm not disrespecting anyone, but do not mix, try to be with those people who are not from your community. And I regret I didn't do that, though I did it for a while.
Okay.
And I remember that short while, that short time that I did that, I tried to think, had I continued with them and not mixed with the brothers from here, I probably would have achieved more than what I have.
Okay.
It's very important. You struggle. I remember I met with some, I was put with the brothers from Iraq.
Okay.
And I'm still in contact with them. I've got a friend, Abdullah Al-Jaburi and Umar, and now they are doing their masters and that. When I was with them, my Arabic was, literally zero. So there was only Abdullah who was able to speak English, but that too a little bit. So, so we can make that communication. And then I would communicate with my broken Arabic. And then when I saw them, that how hardworking they were in terms of seeking knowledge, and that I knew that in order to make some sort of communication with them, I have to speak in Arabic. I have no other option. I enjoyed that time with them.
So that motivated you.
Yeah, I would go out and eat with them. I remember I was sometimes with this other brother Umar. He did not know nothing about English, so he would speak Arabic. He would speak broken Arabic with me, and I'll try to speak Fusha with him, the little that I know, and it would annoy
Sweet
him.
Moments.
It would annoy him, but we remember that time together now.
But now it's sweet moments, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned that, but this is something that pushes an individual to work hard, to achieve more.
Yeah.
Whereas, and then afterwards, I ended up, meeting with some brothers from Birmingham, and they're two good brothers, Allahumma barik. I don't have anything against them, but I saw myself that I was speaking more and more English. We used to be together. We used to make this commitment. Okay, you know what? We'll speak in Arabic. We're not going to speak in English. That commitment was for maybe 10 minutes, half an hour.
It wouldn't last.
It wouldn't last.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you get to learn about other cultures.
Yeah. And that's important.
That and by learning about other cultures, it makes you more of an open-minded person.
Yeah.
I learned that most of the students that were studying in the Jamia from the Muslim countries were developing countries, third world countries, and how they would live. We were all given the same amount in terms of the monthly payment that we would get.
840.
But what these people excuse me, what these brothers would, how they would manage that money and how they would live with that money.
Yeah, it was very
In
different.
comparison to how the British or the Americans, generally speaking, the difference was like, between the earth, between the, بين السماء والأرض, very big difference.
Yeah,
And it just, and when you come back, you when you want to practice what you learn.
yeah,
It just, it's not like, oh, I'm not from them, so I'm not going to do that. I remember what I used to get on a monthly basis. I was able to save up a lot of money, when I was with these people.
Yeah.
I would only probably spend a couple of $100 a month,
yeah,
not more than that. But as soon as I started mixing with the British people, I came back to my, my normal colors, where I would spend probably that 500-600 within the first couple of days.
yeah. But obviously, it is something that, because you're with your people, in terms of like, your levels of expectation of life and that which you need. It's not even a want. Sometimes it's like it's not even a need, it's a want, I should say. And I think that is very important, akhi, what you mentioned, and it's something that I always elaborate, and I always iterate. I always repeat myself. Always. Students that are going there, the number one key advice is to, when you're actually there, is to always make sure that you do not mix with people from speak the same language.
Yeah.
Because it's just you're not gonna be able to practice the Arabic.
Not just the Arabic, it's more than that. You just learn a lot.
That's
learn
true.
a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, Arabic may be the primary one, but there's other things that you learn. Adab.
Yeah.
We're from the Western countries where adab is something not practiced.
Yeah.
So you learn.
Unfortunately.
You learn from other cultures. And that's the beauty of Islam. Islam is not restricted to a particular race or particular people.
That's the Jazakallah khair mentioned that point, subhanAllah. And
going back to your first question,
yeah.
Those who are considering going to the Jamia, you said?
No, generally, like, the situation you were in, how can one deal with it? You're having to give it up. Because, look, some people, they get into a stage where it's like they think it's the end of the world, and they completely, when they leave, they just completely give up everything towards seeking knowledge, and because they've obviously, had to leave, and it's like they just go into that phase where,
Okay, I'll tell you. This is another thing that always sticks in my mind, and I try to. I mention this to people, with the intent to say that how blessed I am.
Yeah.
These two brothers that I mentioned, Umar and Abdullah, they're from Iraq.
Yeah.
When we were there, Abdullah and excuse me.
You can drink a if you want some though.
These guys here, Abdullah and Umar, alongside the others, but I'm mentioning these two because their life was a big lesson for me. They lost contact with their family. Abdullah, I remember the semester before, he went to Iraq, he got married. And then he came back, and then this issue happened. So he lost contact with his wife, who he just got married to. He lost in contact with his father, with all of his people. And I wouldn't meet him very often then, because I was with the brothers back from Britain, the British brothers.
Were they your roommates?
Who?
They were Abdullah and Umar.
Initially, yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
Okay, yeah.
Abdullah would meet every now and then, going to durus, as soon as Asr kicks in, praise Asr, he would go into the bus and go, and I would ask him, how is your family? He would smile, he says, I don't know nothing about them, and he would say, Alhamdulillah. I remember his face up until today, I will never forget. Alhamdulillah, and he's smiling. And I used to say to
And
myself,
this is someone that doesn't even have any information.
Nothing.
Wow.
And it made me think, here I am, there's this Abdullah who knows nothing about his family. Are they alive? Are they dead? You don't know. But he's busy and he's seeking knowledge. Whereas me, you know, I don't need to be worried about anything because my family, I've got my dad here, I've got my mum here.
All safe.
They're, you know, they're with my family.
Yeah.
When something small happens to my kid or anyone, and here I am making a big issue out of it, and because of that, I may not, you know, be studying or may take a day off of, you know, work, class or something like that. And it's hard to explain how much this affected me in terms of how I thought, like in terms of how I think, because, you know, you try and imagine yourself in that situation.
Yeah,
and these people, it did not stop them from seeking knowledge. And because of that, because of their patience and because of their continuous seeking knowledge, now they're now both, they managed to bring their family over. They're with them in Medina, and they're doing their diploma, I think, both of them.
MashaAllah.
This is the reward that Allah has given them, because they were patient upon it. They didn't complain, and they were continuous in seeking knowledge. And look what Allah has given them.
Sabr, isn't it? They're patient, like you said. Allah. May Allah make us from them, man.
Ameen, Ya Rabbi. It's a big thing. I mean, it's hard to explain, you know, but
So what message then would you give to those that are, you know, in that situation where they have to leave? How can they, because some just lose hope because they have to leave.
Just consider, you know, at the end, you know, the other thing I say to myself, I say it to my kids, is you know, strengthen that relationship with Allah. Don't talk to people, don't complain to people, complain to Allah, talk to Allah.
Yeah.
At the end, that's what Allah wants. Allah wants us to ask Him.
Yeah.
You have, you know, the slightest of problems, you know, don't ask anyone, ask Allah. How can I?
Should I get some honey? Should I get some honey?
Honey? Oh, honey.
Honey.
Oh, man. We'll finish off yourself now.
No problem. That's more where that came from, bro.
Speak to Allah, man. That's what we ask Allah. You know, you're going to get different advices from different people. You got your seniors, you got your friends, you got your teachers. They're humans at the end of the day.
Yeah, Allah.
And it's Allah who, you know, you want to ask Allah, Allah will make a way. You know? It's hard. These are things that we've been told since we were young. But it's something that has a big impact in one's life, you know. Any problem that you have, small problem, big problem, ask Allah.
He'll never let you down, huh?
No, never.
Never let you down, Allah. Sakhi, how has your life been afterwards? Now, fast forwarding, you know, you've made that decision, you left. How was your life when you know, touched down back in the UK and obviously settling in? How was that for you?
How was it for me?
Yeah. Like, honestly.
I regret not utilizing my time of benefiting as much as I should have while I was in Medina.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was there for 5-6 years.
So,
you know, it's always, that regret is always at the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Coming back, you know, with my wife, alhamdulillah, she's much better now. She's still, you know, she's not well, but just, I'm there with her, you know, she's there with me. Kids are there. You know, my parents are there. There's no bigger blessing after Islam than them, you know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, to be honest with you, if I am sincere, if I really want to seek knowledge, I could continue to do it while I'm here.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of being sincere, you know, organizing your time, you know, making a barnamij.
And that's very important.
Yeah. Which is not easy. You need to be really determined to do that.
Disciplined.
Yeah. And then what helps is, you know, friends, you know, your brothers, who are around you, who you mix with, who help you in that. And you could do it, you know. I remember, like, there was, you know, when I was in the kulliyah, I was with this brother from Iraq as well. He would say, while he was in Iraq, how he would, you know, how he would struggle to listen to a dars of one of the mashayikh, I don't know, on a radio or whatnot, what it was, and how he would make notes of it. Meaning they would do that while in Iraq. Here we have all the,
Yeah.
you know, the
No excuses.
suhula, you know, we have everything here.
No excuses, Allah.
So it's a matter of being sincere and, you know, trying to make an effort, you know, of doing what, you know, what is needed from us. I do regret that, you know, no matter how often I said or how much I'm repeating it, it's something, it's always there. But I've come back. I've tried. I do give. I studied a bit of Kitab al-Tawheed with Sheikh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili, hafidhahullah. So with some brothers, I go through with them. I translate that and I go through with them. And
I mean, akhi, like you said, it's not something that you should like delve into and just feel. Of course, there's going to be regret, but to feel sad upon that which has, you know, come and gone.
No. I understand, but you know, this should make you change what you know for your future or prepare. But what I'm not saying is that, you know, look how many people they you know, how they struggle to just spend, to save money all their life just to Umrah or go for Hajj. Yeah. Whereas we didn't get that, you know. So in that sense, you know, something that you've been given literally is you didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, for free.
So, you know, it's always going to be there.
Yeah. No, alhamdulillah, Allah, it's a great blessing, man. And akhi, before we conclude, is there any other like messages you want to give to any other students listening, or anyone that wants to seek knowledge, or anyone that may have gone through something difficult?
It's basically, you know, what I said before, you know, attach your heart to Allah, ask Allah, you know, I'm not saying don't ask your friends if they are able to help and, you know, they're there for you, but at the end you want to strengthen your relationship with Allah. And that, you know, you do that, you'll find content, you know, you'll be content with what, if it works out, it doesn't work out, you'll be content with that. Be sincere. Sincerity is very important.
Of course.
I think there's a call of Sufyan al-Thawri, I think. Do you know about Niyyah? Or was it Sufyan ibn Uyayna? I don't remember which one of the two. They said no. They said we started seeking knowledge for other than Allah, and then as we delved into it, we studied. Became,
yes.
You know,
sincere for Allah's sake.
Yeah. What's the called in Arabic? I forgot.
Completely forgot, akhi, as well, man.
You may want to just explain that. Go on, rephrase it.
Yeah, exactly what you said. About when we started seeking knowledge, it wasn't for the sake of it, it was just
dunyawi reasons.
Yeah, it wasn't for the right reasons. Until then, obviously, then afterwards, what our intentions changed.
While seeking knowledge. Yeah. Very important. What's that, man? These two things, I can only advise these two things at the moment.
Jazakallah khair, Waqaas. Allah knows it was a pleasure having you, akhi, and speaking to you. And I mean, I think what I learned personally, akhi, just, you know, utilizing your time whilst you're given that opportunity, isn't it? For those that get given that opportunity, and looking at the blessings and the bounties that Allah had over you and bestowed upon you, because despite the fact that you had to leave, al khairu fi makhtarahu Allah, you know, that which is good is that which Allah has, maybe it was a reason for you to go back, and it was for the right reasons. And obviously, you know, now you're saying it yourself, maybe it was a difficult decision, but it was the best decision and it was meant for you to go back. But the one thing that I like that you mentioned, that you feel honored at the fact that, you know, you were the first ones from your family members to perform Umrah or to go out to seek knowledge. So, and inshallah, hopefully that is going to be a thing where, bi'idhnillah, maybe your offsprings will be able to also benefit from you being back and being with them and what have you. And Jazakumullah khair, akhi, may Allah Azza wa Jalla reward you.
I mean, well, yeah,
And, you know, I think I would kind of give an advice for all those that are there to utilize their time whilst they're there, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Something can just pop out of the blue and you may have to leave. So whilst you're there, it's best to utilize your time. And I think that's the best way. Live every day as if tomorrow's going to, as if that day is going to be your last in that place. Just like how we should be in this dunya, isn't it? You know, where you put forth more good deeds.
Yeah, no, I mean, anyone there now, and they, you know, if they're listening to this, it's one of the first things they should do, you know, not cut ties with their friends who are from the same community, but
Okay, yeah.
Not cut ties with them, but distance yourself for a bit and mix with those who don't know your language, who are not your people, so that you can focus for what, you know, why you're there. Focus for the reason why you're there, and maybe just make a weekend, you know, gathering or something like that.
Yeah. Now that's important, akhi, because wallah, I remember one thing, and I think we'll conclude on that. Sheikh Sulaiman, one time he was doing his lesson and he was talking to us about the importance of a position of those that have been favored by Allah to come and live in Medina to seek knowledge. And he was just talking about the importance of it, living in Medina, the reward and the hadith and what have you. And he went on, bringing benefit after benefit. And the one thing that stuck with me that he said, wallahi, so many students.
I remember this.
You remember that, yeah?
Yeah.
So many students that have went back and graduated, they come and they complain to us and they say that when they were studying, they didn't know the importance of the, you know, that position, if you want to call it, position of, you know, being those that have been favored by Allah to be students. They didn't really see it as anything. Of course, they were studying, but when they went back, they saw the importance of it because people now were reaching out to them thirsty, wanting to seek knowledge. And the number one thing they regretted is that they wished they had learned more so that they would be able to, you know, give more. You know, and that's something I think that was very profound that he said. Because it's like when you're in that position, yeah, you're seeking knowledge or whatever, but you don't see how important it is. So therefore you can be lenient, waste a bit of time, this, that. So
it's like what my father says, you know, he says, alhamdulillah, my father, you know, he's given us everything, you know. We haven't had to struggle for any of that. So when he sees us not taking, you know, not dealing with what we've been given or being a bit negligent in terms of how we spend or something like that, it hurts him. So he tells us off, you know, he complains, he's a bit harsh. And when now we, you know, we work and we, you know, we struggle and that, and we read, I understand now why my father says that, because if I earn, like, let's just say, a job I do, I get £100 or something, and I give it to my kids, or, you know, though it's for them or whatnot, but if I see them not spending it properly or just wasting it, it hurts, because you give your blood. And likewise for this, you know, if you were to struggle, let's just say going into Medina, into the Jamia, you spend your money for the ticket, you spend your money for the accommodation, you spend your money for the visa and everything. You're not going to waste your time. You're not going to waste your time.
Yeah, because they're the other one that put all that, you know.
And, you know, and the Jamia accept us with everything.
That's true. Every free ticket to knowledge. SubhanAllah. I think we'll end on there. Allah, we can carry on, but time is of essence. And I believe that it was amazing, alhamdulillah, you know, coming back and seeing you again and you being here with us today. And it's overdue, man. It was overdue. So jazakallah khair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. صلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
جزاك الله خير أخي.